everybody? It's D. Lee back at you with another episode of the Silks Podcast, and this is episode number 2. I'm joined by one of my very good friends, Sherman Johnson. Sherman, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem. How's the family?
Family's good. Everybody's doing well. You know, everybody's getting a little older now, so it's good. But everybody's good. It's good. The holidays just passed and got to see everybody. So that was a good time.
That's good. How's baseball going? It's coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, spring training's right around the corner here. Luckily for me, this year I'll be in Florida for spring training, so I get to stay closer to home and see my family and friends more often.
Oh, so you signed somewhere?
Yeah. I recently signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So
congratulations,
Bradenton. Thank you. I appreciate that.
What are you? So what? You report in a couple weeks or so?
No, actually, sooner than that. I believe pitchers and catchers are either reporting now or within the next couple of days, if not now. And then usually position players are like a week after that. So yeah, it should be pretty soon.
You doing anything right now to kind of like get ready for the season as it starts?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of still off season, like the very end of the off season. But I've been doing stuff since late September, early October. I started really early this year. So yeah, I've been getting ready since then.
Okay, well that's good. I'm glad to hear it. I wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you, man. Hopefully you guys at Silks Podcast can come out and watch a couple games this spring.
Oh, for sure. I know you got a lot of fans here that are in big support of you and have been following you your entire career.
I mean, I appreciate everybody that has been following me. I know a lot of people come up to me and ask me about how everything's going. I really do appreciate that. So hopefully I'll be able to see some familiar faces out there.
So you're going in, season's coming up this year. So last year you were with the Angels. Or no. Was that last year? No, that's the year before that.
Okay.
The year before that you were with the Angels, and you got called up actually for, the span of a couple weeks or something? How was that, being called up to the major leagues?
It was a blast, man. It's definitely a dream come true. For me, most guys have been playing baseball since they were 4 or 5 years old, and that's the ultimate goal, is to play in the big leagues one day. So it was really kind of surreal getting that phone call and knowing that I was going to be playing in the big leagues at the highest level of baseball in the world. So it was fun. It was everything I thought and more, and it was good to have a glimpse of all this hard work paying off.
Well, that's good. And didn't you, I remember one of the first games or one of the games I watched, you either pinch hit or you pinch ran for Mike Trout, arguably I guess you'd probably agree with me, probably the best player in baseball. How was that? How was he? I heard he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. I do believe he's the best player in baseball. No, I'm not taking anything away from any of the other guys that play. I'm just kind of biased. I played with him. But yeah, it was awesome. I didn't technically pinch hit or pinch run for him, but I was in his spot when he was taken out of the game. So that's how it went down on the lineup card. But we don't play the same position. Good for me, because I don't think anybody can replace him. But it was great. He's the ultimate professional. Very kind to all of his teammates. Will go out of his way to do anything. He's awesome.
Well, that's good to hear. So you play baseball professionally. I play poker professionally. You've been playing poker for a long time as well. You play quite a bit. Are there any similarities between the two games? Like, can you relate one thing to poker in baseball or vice versa?
Yeah. Baseball is definitely a game of failure. And you quickly have to learn how to deal with failure, how to deal with losing, how to deal with not performing how you wanted to perform. And I think that correlates in anything in life, but especially with poker, like, you can't let one bad hand, or if you played it wrong, or if you were just unlucky, you can't let that affect the whole session, or the wheels are just going to fall off.
Yeah, definitely. I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, I'm sure all poker players have. I don't know all the lingo, but how many guys say they go on tilt, and way easier said than done. But I think having played baseball, I kind of puts it in perspective. Okay, like, it's not that I want to fail, but I know how to deal with it because I've failed so much.
Right, and I think that's similar to what you're saying with baseball, with poker, With poker, it's a little bit different because when you're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? No one likes losing, especially losing money. But I'm the same way. I've come to that conclusion where, like, I know I'm going to fail sometimes, and you just kind of have to, put it past you in a way, just like you with baseball. Like, you might go through a few games where you're hitless, or you're just having a
For sure.
rough couple games, and sooner or later it's going to get better. Sometimes it's just a matter of time. Sometimes it's just a matter of practice. So I think I can certainly agree with what you're saying. Now, I've been, I talk a lot of poker with you. I've been kind of a little slump lately myself. In baseball, it's called a slump. In poker, it's more of like a downswing.
Okay.
What do you do in baseball when you're going through a slump that helps you kind of get your mind back in the right, the right state?
I try to not think about it at all.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I like that.
In baseball, yes, they call them slumps. And you'll see a lot of guys do something where, and some guys will, if they always wear batting gloves, they'll be like, all right, I'm in a slump, I'll go up there without batting gloves.
So you think it's kind of like a superstition thing, maybe?
Oh, I think baseball players are probably the most superstitious human beings on the earth.
Maybe aside from gamblers, yeah, for sure.
I'm not really into that world to know how superstitious they are, but baseball, I mean, it's everything. You'll get guys that have a beard, and if they go 0 for 2, they'll come out of the locker room mid-game and the beard shaved off.
They'll shave their beard that game.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, I had a teammate in college, and he really had really, really good years, but he would go hitless his first at-bat. He'd go in the locker room, take off his belt, throw it in the trash, get a new belt. And we were just like, man, what are you doing? And he's like, watch, I'm going to get a hit next at-bat. Next at-bat, he would get a hit. And we're just like, man, he really believes this. And he was serious about it. And then there's the other side of the spectrum where there's guys who are like, well, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, and it'll even out.
Are you that guy, or would you say you're superstitious yourself? Or do you have some superstitions, I guess?
I think it's human nature when you're not getting the results that you want to change something.
Right.
But for me, I've learned throughout the years, at least in baseball, for me, more is less. So when I'm in a slump, I try to do less. I try to not focus on so much the end result. I try to focus on, okay, like, what is my process? How am I getting to this at bat mentally? And if I'm getting there the way I'm supposed to, then the hitting will take care of itself.
Right. And you know what? It's funny you say that, because in my, so I played poker all day, every day for the longest time. And then a couple months ago, I went through probably the biggest downswing I've ever been on. And it's like what you said, I try to do less. So I took a break for like a month. Like, literally, I didn't play poker for a month. I might have played like once or twice, but throughout that month, I just I kind of put my mind towards other things. And I think that when after like that process, when you get back into the game, I think your mind it's like refreshed, it's like re-energized. It's like charged again. That way, you can go into your first session of, the next month all ready to go and set. So I think poker and baseball, as far as that goes, I would say it's pretty relatable.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. Like you said, you do it for a living. So, I mean, you play a lot more than me. It's really a grind too. I mean, I can only imagine how it is to play for a living. But yeah, I mean, I think every now and then you got to get away from the game. You got to decompress, and it's just, how do you do that as a poker player? I mean, I think most poker players are different. Some people might just be like, okay, I need to just take a vacation, or I need to take some time off altogether from poker, or maybe I need to go down in stakes.
And it's funny you say that, because that's one thing I think a lot of professional players and just a lot of players in general are, quote unquote, maybe afraid to do, which is kind of silly, because let's say you play 1-3 regularly, you lose a couple binds, you go on like a 1 month downswing, you're going to lose quite a bit of money. But some people, I guess, are ashamed to move down. So I don't understand. I think in the grand scheme of things, you need to go down in order to get back up, and I think that's just how poker is. I mean, you've played enough poker to know, like, if you're failing at 1-3, it may be mistakes that you're making, or maybe you're going through a downswing, but you need to, you know, kind of put your ego aside and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should play 1-2 and kind of go back to the basics.
I mean, I agree. I think the higher the game, so the higher the stakes go, the faster the game speeds up. The more magnified mistakes are. So I think I do agree with you. I think it is an ego thing. I think most guys, okay, I play 2-5. I'm a 2-5 player. I can't go down to 1-3. I can't go down to 1-2. Well, maybe you need to go down to 1-2 to slow the game down and evaluate, okay, like, am I playing high-level poker right now? And for me, it's, okay, am I playing high-level baseball right now? Are my mechanics at a level where I need them to be to compete? And if they're not, okay, I need to go back to the mechanics, to the fundamentals, to the basics. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've played 1-2, you've played 1-3, you've played 5-5, like, and you've played them all over the country. So what's the biggest difference, would you say, between, like, let's say the 1-2 and, let's say, like, the 1-3-6 here at the Stokes specifically? Because you've seen the games here. They're incredibly action.
They are. I just think the higher you go up in stakes, I think the game is cleaner. And I'm not saying that to say that the players are better.
What do you mean cleaner?
Cleaner as in the mistakes get punished.
Okay. I can 100% agree with that.
And I think it's the same way in baseball. You go from rookie ball to short season to low A to high A. And every level you're going up, everything gets better. The defense gets better. The pitching gets better. The hitters are more disciplined. So I think the higher up you go, the cleaner the game is. So for poker, there's more money. But I think the mistakes are more magnified. So the sizing of bets. I don't think it's just willy-nilly anymore. Like 1-2, the pot could be $30, and this guy's like, oh, I have top pair, I'm just going to bet 60. Like, I don't think you see that a lot as you move up in stakes without it getting punished, without it getting exposed.
Would you go as far as saying the higher of stakes that you play, the better the players are?
I just think I would say yes, but I don't think they're just better because they've studied the game more. I just think they're more experienced, and some of them aren't. Some of them just have the money in the pockets.
Bankroll is very important for
100%. And the guys that are professionals, that are grinders, and that are there, I think they're better players. The guys that just have the money, I think they're the reason why the professionals are there.
Well, yeah, I mean, these guys with the money, they do it recreationally. These are like, businessmen, lawyers, retired guys that just, literally I hear them say all the time, like, I'm just here to have fun. I got nothing to do. I got some extra spending money. And that's kind of when people like me kind of, I'm not saying I like target them, but I kind of know like, okay, these are the guys that I'm going to have to get in the games with.
100%, and you pick your spots.
Exactly. And sometimes they work, sometimes it doesn't, I feel like in the end, and I'm not just saying this, to sound, like I'm tooting my own horn, but I feel like in the end, a grinder, someone that's doing this full time and has been studying the game and been playing for so long is ultimately going to have,
a winning play. You're going to be a winning player.
You're going to have and you're going to have the edge also against these guys that are literally just quote unquote gambling. And you and me see it every day.
100%, and that's where the mistakes get punished. But the mistakes aren't getting punished at 1-2 anymore for $50. Now the mistakes are getting punished at 2-5, 5-5, 5-10. Now you're getting punished for thousands of dollars. And you can only do that for so long.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, would you say that you would play differently? I think I know the answer to this because I know you, but okay. Would you say you play differently if you were playing higher stakes? Like, in the end, it's still poker. Like, let's say you were playing 1-3 today. Mm-hmm. Would you play 1-3 today the same way as if you were to play 25-50 tomorrow?
I think you have to play the same way. But I think that's where the fundamentals come in. Because if I'm going to play 1-3 a certain way and then go to 25-50 and play it differently, like, what game would I be playing differently? I'm not experienced in playing a different way than I play. I can't just play because the stakes go up. I have
Right.
to play the same way, and I have to trust that. Okay, I'm fundamentally sound of what I've built my poker game on, that can be successful at 25-50. And if it's not, I have no business playing that game.
Would you say that works the same for baseball too? Like having the same mindset and practicing and going about things the same from like let's say single A to like the majors?
100%. But that's why most people, I don't think, are ready to make the jump from single A to the majors, because you get to single A and this is the certain speed of the game, and then you get to the majors and the speed is up here. It's still the same game. It's still baseball, right?
Right. You're right. Absolutely right.
But everything is much cleaner.
And that's the thing I tell with poker players, like young poker players, they'll want to move up, and some of them they'll move up faster than others, or some of them they'll move like sometimes too fast, and they don't understand that, it's still poker in the end, and sometimes they mix their style up a little bit, or not mix, they change their styles when they really shouldn't, because you should be, like you said in baseball, you should be playing the same way. Everything that you've learned, everything that you've taught others to get you there, you should apply to whether you're playing, 1-2 or like I said, 25-50. Just like everything you learn from, little league to the majors, you're always going to apply and use and, make yourself the best player that you can be.
100%. And then in cards, if you do that, the cards speak for themselves.
Exactly.
Like it's not like you can be a better poker player than me per se, but if my game's solid and I'm running well, what can you really do that day?
Sounds like yesterday.
Exactly. So what can you really do that day? There's not much you can do. If
Yeah.
I'm running well and I'm playing solid, you might be the better poker player. But what can you do? That's how it's different in baseball. So I could be really solid, and I get to the big leagues, I'm playing against the best in the world.
Of course.
It doesn't matter if I'm really solid or not. If that guy's better than me, he's beating me.
And that's and you're exactly that's exactly how it is in poker. Like in any sport, in anything competitive, you're really good at something, there's always, and I mean always, going to be someone that's going to be like a step ahead of you. That's just how it works, Like you play poker, but I've been playing poker a lot longer than you have.
Mm-hmm.
You've been playing baseball, but I'm sure there's players that have been playing baseball a lot longer than you have.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn and you can adjust. And if you're seeing something that they're doing that you like, or like in poker, if I'm seeing someone that does something that I like, I try to apply that to my game as well. So I guess in a way, poker and baseball have a lot of similarities.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Which one would you say is more difficult?
I think baseball is the hardest thing in the world to do.
I think it's the hardest sport out there.
I do. I mean, I don't know how many fractions of a second you have. This is the guy on the mound. I mean, it seems like every guy nowadays is pretty much throwing 100. And
that's not normal, is it?
I mean, it wasn't.
I guess nowadays it's normal.
I mean, now it is. I mean, I think the training's better, the nutrition's better, everything. It's normal now, but 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, it was not. That was not normal. Like, you had maybe one of those on a team. Now there's 5, 6 of those on a team, 7 of those on a team, and that's what everybody's training to be.
Are the players are they just getting better? Like, is how they trained growing up and playing in all these separate leagues and everything to get to the major leagues? Are they just like better? Because in poker, like, it seems like everyone nowadays is just like a wizard. Like everyone knows everything. Poker right now is so much more harder than it was 10 years ago.
Well, you just said it. You said it seems like everybody right now is a wizard. What you're basically saying is there's no excuse to be a terrible poker player anymore because there's so much information out there that's given to you for free. I can go on YouTube right now and type in, poker lessons, and there's vlogs that are going to pop up, and I can watch that for free and be like, okay, like if I really wanted to learn, this is how this guy's successful, this is how he did it in that situation. 20 years ago,
that was not even a thing.
It was not available.
And
so it was like you had to learn from trial and error.
You're right. That's why it was so hard back then for me when I first started playing. Like, everything was just so much more difficult back then. The games were a lot tougher. But now you said you can read threads, you can look stuff up on YouTube, you can ask people for advice. Literally anybody and everybody that you see in a casino has been playing poker for, X amount of years, and they have all this experience and knowledge that they can, tell you, just like in baseball, I'm sure.
Well, that's the thing. We're in the information age. So with baseball, it's the analytical movement right now, and you get guys that love analytics, and then you get guys like, well, analytics can't take over everything. Well, if the information's there, why would I not want to use it? Like, it can only make me better. And that's what you're saying. The average poker player is now better because there's more information out there. The average baseball player nowadays compared to 20 years ago is better, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you 100%. And see, the thing with poker is, like you said, at the end of the day, like, even if I am a better player than you, if you're just running good, playing good, you're catching cards, you're going to win. Like, that's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So how much... Poker is obviously a mental game as well. Like, you're using your brain a lot. Like, you have to do a lot of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those people that, I deliberate every decision. I don't like making mistakes, as I'm sure you don't like mistakes playing baseball. Is the control of your mind and how you think, is it as important in baseball as it is in poker?
I think it's more important in baseball.
It is. Okay.
So in baseball, you've heard the saying, you fail 70% of the time as a hitter, you're a Hall of Famer. Well, I want you to imagine being at the highest, you're at the pinnacle. You're playing poker. You're in a room, you're playing against Ivy, Estefano, I don't know how to say it. There we go. Dwan. You're playing against all those guys, the top poker players in the world. You play 10 sessions, and you lose 7 of them.
I mean, in poker, that's not good.
But you're an above-average player if we're in baseball.
Right, because 300 is considered good, right?
It was back in the day. Not so much anymore. People don't really, not people, but front offices now are kind of going away from batting average. They're going more to OPS, OPS plus, WAR. Like, there's different stats to measure how valuable you are now. So, but that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of failure in the game of baseball. So the mental aspect, the mental side of it is much more important, because it's how do you bounce back from that? Can you deal with, okay, I just struck out my last 3 at bats. I still have a 4th at bat. Okay, I'm 0 for my last 21. How can I've still got 400 and something more at bats this year. Like, how can I bounce back to get back on track?
That makes perfect sense. And it's just like yesterday. Like, you saw me yesterday. You saw I was kind of frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I was making mistakes, but at the same time, like, I was playing okay. There's like a couple hands versus you where, like, I feel like I lost the minimum, or like I didn't get the maximum. And, obviously you get discouraged when you're losing, And, I'm not taking anything away from you. I think you played really good yesterday. You ran good, and those things kind of go hand in hand. It's also the same thing as when you run bad, you tend to play bad, and you tend to make, poor decisions.
I couldn't agree more.
And yesterday, I was down $1,000 at one point. Somehow, at the end of the night, I only lost 200, which, just as well as I do, when you're down that much, and even if you end up losing for the night, but if you make that big of a comeback, it's almost like you won. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Because you made that little comeback. So, okay, so baseball, poker, do you think, I remember having this conversation with you, and I don't know if you're serious or not, but you were talking about post-baseball that you thought about as, like, once you're done with baseball, to play poker professionally, as like a living. Seeing what I go through, and telling you all the aspects, just like the lifestyle and like the grind you have to put in. Do you think you can honestly play poker for a living and be successful?
If I really wanted to and be dedicated to it, I think I could. For sure, I could be successful and play for a living. Would I want to do that? I don't think so. I just like joking with you about it, but I really don't think I'd want to do that. I think it takes a lot of time, a lot of studying.
Well, yeah, for sure. Take it from me. It is not. It is. People think like, oh, hey, Dan, you gamble, you play a game for a living. Like, it must be great. You must win all sorts of money. It's really actually the opposite of that, and you see it firsthand. Like, you yourself, you see me at the table. You'll see I'll put in 10-hour days and win $50. But you also see the days I play for 45 minutes and win $1,000.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, I think it's not. I think when you think about it as a normal person, you're like, wow, man, that sounds great. You get to play cards for a living, but I don't think it's as glorious as people think.
No, it's one of those things where like I'll wake up at like noon or something, and then like one's like, oh, like I gotta go to work, but then like you're thinking, you know what, I gotta go to work and playing poker. Like it sounds good, but like when you do it every day, like as a routine, sitting at the table grinding for hours, looking it down at seven deuce all day, like it's really not, like you said, that glorious.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think so. And yeah, you could take a break. Yeah, you could take off as much time as you want, but at the end of the day, you have to make money. If that's your profession.
Right.
And so if you have to make money, you can't really afford to take that many days off. So you have to play. And I don't know. I mean, I enjoy playing poker. I think it's a great game, especially mentally. Just the psychology of it, I think.
Well, yeah,
is
for
awesome.
sure. Gets the brain moving. Like some people like to, and you're right. It is a lot about the cards you have, how good you're running, but it's also about the decisions that you make. What does this guy have? What does this guy think that I have? What does this guy think that I think that he thinks? It's all sorts of mental like thinking going on that requires more than just being lucky and catching the right cards. So I can agree with you 100%. Now you've been coming here to the Silks for what, the last 10 years, maybe longer than that.
I think the first time I walked in here, I was 17, just
17,
scared to
so
death.
that's you're almost 30, so 13 years ago almost. What are your thoughts of this room compared to poker everywhere else that you've played? Like, what's the biggest difference? Because you've played in Vegas, you've played in Talking Stick, Arizona.
Yep.
You played out in California. I'm sure in a lot of aspects the games are similar or they have similarities, but what separates this room from like all the other rooms you've played in?
Well, first and foremost, this is home for me. I mean, I'm close to home. It's right here. It's a good vibe. It's homey. The people are nice for the most part. I will say this. The 1-3, I think this is the biggest 1-3 in the country, and I've played
In the country?
everywhere, and I've never seen a 1-3 like this. I've never seen a 1-3 where you're consistently getting
$1,000 pots, like every other hand.
like close to $2K in the pot. Like I've never seen that anywhere else. The minimum's 100 here, the maximum's 500. Most places around the country, the max is 3. So these games aren't getting as big, but the ones here are. They let you run it twice. Other places around the country don't let you run it twice. So I mean, from that aspect, I think it's great. I think some people take it for granted. I think they're lucky to have it. I mean, the 1-3 here is good.
No, I 100% agree with you, and I'm surprised because, I tell all my friends or other poker players, like, hey, guys, you need to check out the Silks. Like, they have a really sick 1-3 game, and what's now been lately 1-3-6. That's another good game that they have here, and they just, I don't know what, they're just missing out. So, I guess that's just more for you and me. We know what they offer here. We know what we're getting. We know we're going to make it, 50 pre-flop, or we're going to get called by, the 9-7 of spades, and, just action like that is crazy. Now, you remember back in the day when 1-3 was 300 max here.
I do.
Obviously, it's been a huge change. Why do you think now that, because I think Derby, also the Hard Rock, I think now they offer 1-3 with a 500 max as well. Do you think they kind of maybe took notice that, hey, you know what, these games are really good and, just drawing more attention, that maybe they're doing that as well?
For sure. I mean, I think they're always cognizant of what their competition is doing. So if they work or hear about it at Derby or Hard Rock and they're like, wow, man, this 1-3 at the Silks is really doing numbers, like, we should definitely look into that. We should run that so business doesn't leave here. And I don't think their 1-3s are even close to the 1-3 here, but they offer it. So people are like, oh, well, they offer 1-3. Like, how good could the Silks 1-3 game? And they won't know until they come play.
And then once they get here, they'll see that, what the facts are there. You're seeing these games as they are. So
of course, I mean, you can come in here any day of the week, and the 1-3 or the 1-3-6. I mean, there's gonna be 2K in the middle. Like, there's no question about that. And if you get the right table, there could be 3K, 4K in the middle. Like, and there's there's not anybody that's going to be like shying away from that. They're putting the money in the middle.
Yeah, so I want to read you a comment that I read on Poker Atlas the other day. I think you'll find this hilarious, actually.
Okay.
However, I do want to get your thoughts on what this says, because it's basically a player describing the poker room, this poker room, and describing the 1-3 specifically.
Okay.
So let me find it for you here real quick. Here it is. The title is "Make a Lot of Money Here." So this says, "This is one of the worst poker rooms I have been to in a while, but good players can make so much money. I recommend to anyone that has around $2,000 to move down to Florida, work a medium job, and play here every day. The regs and donkeys are so bad they only play for luck, so after about 2 to 3 years you can make a killing off these people. They literally just hand you their money and stand up and say, I'm just ready to go home. I was only able to play here for a week, bubbled 5 tournaments because people got lucky, yada yada yada." What are your thoughts on this review right here?
I think I've never seen or heard of that review until just now, and I think that review is hilarious.
Would you say it's accurate?
Worst poker room ever? Not even close.
Maybe not worst as in like the service, all that stuff. But maybe the worst as far as like the players. I'm guessing he means. I mean, he says if you have $2,000, move to Florida, work a medium job, and play here every day.
just pick up your life. Work a medium job.
I mean, when you read that, when you think that this guy's just saying like, "Hey, they're giving away money," because he says that in the review as well.
I mean, he's not far off. I mean, the games are good. I tell you what, there's never a day that I come to the Silks and I sign up for a 1-3, a 1-3-6, and I'm like, okay, there's going to be no action. It's like, okay, there's a bunch of action here. Like, a bunch. Like, it's never too much for me, but sometimes it's like, man, I don't even need to play a hand until I literally have the nuts. And then I play.
And you're going to get paid off. And you know that's how it works.
Exactly. It's like nobody paid attention that I haven't played a hand in an hour and a half. I put all my money in the middle, and they call, and then they're surprised that I have the best hand possible.
It's so funny how that works out sometimes, Like, I'm baffled sometimes. Like, you probably see that happen more with me than I do with you because, I'm a little bit nittier, but people are literally seeing that I haven't played in 4 or 5 hours. I'll raise. They'll literally say, "Wow, Danny, you haven't played in a while. You made a 50? I'm going to call you." And then at the end, I show down aces in like $1,000 pot, and you're kind of like, I mean, what the hell did you expect? The guy hasn't played in 4 hours.
Well, it's 100%. It's like they know what you have, and they still want to call.
But why? I don't. That's one thing I still won't understand. Like, not just with me, but with anybody. Why do people have that like mindset?
I don't know. Maybe it's like, okay, well, I'm still gonna beat him. I'm gonna teach him. He thinks he could just not play and for hours and then just play one hand, and he thinks he's gonna win. Well, I'm gonna try to suck out. You'll hear people say that a lot. I hear people say that to you all the time. Like, all right, Daniel, I know you have aces, but I'm gonna try to suck out. Like, what? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, he has you beat right now. Why don't you just fold? He's not. Even if you do catch up and get ahead of his aces, he's not going to pay you off.
Yeah, because I play with these same players every day. I know their tendencies, their betting patterns, how they play. So, for me, that's the advantage that I have over them. Whereas, like you said, they're just trying to get lucky. They know what I have, but it's kind of one of those things. Oh, if they hit like the 5-4 suited against my aces, then they think they're gonna get paid off. But like I've been playing here for so long that just like the read of situations I have been like pretty spot on. Like yesterday, I lost $50 to you yesterday with queens against aces.
You did. You played the hand tricky. You played it well, actually. I mean, you lost the minimum, and it seemed like we did that back and forth to each other. We kind of played a lot of pots against each other yesterday. Some big, some not so big, like the one you're talking about. But yeah, you definitely lost the minimum.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if it was anybody but you, because I know your game so well, we play together all the time. You know me, I know you. It's just like I don't think we've ever gotten to such a big pot to where like one of us doesn't know what the other one had. Because like I'm not gonna lie. You actually pissed me off yesterday when you were making all these right decisions versus everybody, including myself. And like I said, I'm not going to take away from the fact yesterday that you played very, very well.
Why did it make you mad? I mean,
Because
I'm supposed to
I remember on
fold
one hand,
the
I had a
hands.
full house. I had the nuts. Well, I mean, pretty much the nuts. And you had, like, there were 2 jacks on the board, and you claimed to have had a jack.
Oh, I just had Jack 8.
That's what you
Yeah,
said.
it's just
That's what you
trips.
said. I feel like I made a reasonable size bet on the river. You told me, quote unquote, I got too greedy, and then you just folded. Like, it wasn't even that hard of a decision for you.
But I just knew. I mean, I just like you've played with me, and I knew too. So there's certain things that you do, and certain things that you just don't do, and I don't know. I really just felt that you were ahead. I was beat. And if I think I'm beat, it doesn't matter the strength of my hand. Just like if I think I'm ahead, it really doesn't matter the strength of my hand. You've seen me call down with a pair of deuces in a big pot.
Right,
and,
in certain situations against certain people, and I'm pretty sure in that situation you were correct.
Yeah, I was. So that's why. I'm sorry to upset you.
No,
sir.
it's okay. It's okay. I mean, that's a challenge I like. So a couple more things here. You've been coming to Stokes a long time. You see these great games, but you've also seen sometimes it's been, a little hit or miss, a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
As a loyal customer to the Silks, what would you like to see them improve on in here to just make this room like the best one in the area, if anything?
I think they're doing a lot of stuff now to improve the clientele, to get more people in and out. I really think it was just a lull for so many years of the promotions here, and people are just like, and you know how it is. Like, would I like to hit a high hand? Yes, but I understand the reality of how many sessions you're going to go and hit quads, But I think most people, they want that hope. Okay, if I hit a high hand, I'll get paid, and I think that's awesome. And if that's what it takes to get people through the door, I think that's what you should focus on. I think they're doing a lot better. I think the PLO stuff, I think a lot of people like playing PLO. I'm not one of them. I can't stand that game. But I think a lot of people like playing it. So I think, maybe they should have a designated day for that here. I know that TGT does it on Mondays.
Right.
Maybe they pick a day where it's PLO, at the Silks. Like, then they run it. They have not the same people, but they have a steady group of people that love playing that game, and they run it on a certain day. And I just think stuff like that would help.
Well, we always enjoy your input, and like you, I want to see this room succeed. You and I both love coming here. We're both local. We both live close. So any ideas that anybody else has, like Sherman said, the promotions, just like the daily PLO games that people like, anything that you guys think would improve the room, just let us know. Well, Sherman, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Baseball season's coming up. I wish you the best in that. Is there anything you want to add before we close out here?
No, man, I just want to say thank you. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully this was entertaining for you listeners out there at home.
Oh, it was for sure. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video on YouTube, Silks Podcast. We are also on Instagram under Silks_podcast. And if you want to follow Sherman, he's ShermSticky32 on Instagram as well. So for Sherman Johnson, I am Daniel Lee, just reminding you, tight is right.